Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start with the story of the thieves who had the nerve to use the stolen card right behind the victim's back. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Trying to use a stolen credit card? Think again. I'm a server at a restaurant and have been friends with another server named Polly. This story's going to be all about her, by the way. I found out about all this later that night. Polly and I worked last night, but I left early. Polly's friend Brenda came in last night to visit her and to have a nice meal. At the end of the meal, Brenda realized her debit card was missing. After checking her bank account, $200 was already spent online from a store nearby. This was crazy because Brenda just got off work that was close by as well, meaning her card was lost and used within 1 hour. However, about 20 minutes prior to her realizing her card was stolen, 3 kids walk in asking for a table. They beg my friend to let them eat, although the restaurant was going to close in an hour, and they said, "We'll tip you really good." All right, good deal. My friend serves them and they rack up a $60 tab. When they go to pay out, they hand my friend a debit card. When she goes to a machine away from the table, she realizes it's Brenda's card. Ironically, the 2 booths, Brenda and the thieves, were next to each other. Polly walks up to her friend and says in another language, "Is this your card?" Brenda goes, "Yes, that's mine." So then my friend goes to call the cops in the restroom. Our police station is literally in the same plaza, LOL. However, I think the kids were getting a little bit suspicious because one tried to leave, but the manager already locked the doors since it was so close to closing time. When another server saw one guy try to leave, he tried to pass it off saying, "Oh, I'm looking for my server. I need boxes to go." My friend used every bone in her body not to cuss them out at the moment. The cops finally show up and immediately ask for all their IDs. The cop then goes, "Did you guys use this card?" And they obviously didn't catch on what was happening because they replied yes, and the cop goes, "You know that the owner is sitting right behind you guys?" They were in shock. Because what were the odds, right? After questioning all the guys and my friend, one of them gets arrested for credit card abuse, which will be on his record for years. This guy starts to break down and starts apologizing to Brenda saying, "I just got laid off, yada yada. I'm so sorry." Brenda tore this guy a new one because she was pissed as hell. They knew what they were doing because when the thieves were eating, they shouted, "Thanks for all the stuff, Brenda." The guy who got arrested was only 19 too. Good luck, buddy. You deserved all the crap you're gonna get. And our second story. I had an office food thief, so I bought a nanny cam. A couple of things about me that made it really suck to have a food thief. I have a lot of food allergies, so I can't just get lunch at the cafeteria or at a nearby restaurant. I have a new baby who I'm breastfeeding and who I pump for when I'm at work. You know how hungry pregnant people are? Yeah, the caloric requirement for breastfeeding is 100 to 200 calories higher. I'm always hungry. Because I have a new baby, half the time I don't manage to show up at work with a lunch. I either run out of time to pack one, or if I did remember, I leave it on the counter. My solution to all of this was to leave lots of non-perishable snacks in my office, and also a lot of candy, because I also have a 3-year-old, and therefore work is the only place I can shovel Skittles into my mouth without a little hand extending into my field of vision and a little voice saying, "Please." Snacks that were specifically free of my allergens, some of which were specialty foods because of this. The type of specialty food that just doesn't taste as good as food that contains the allergen and also costs twice as much. Because I'm not getting a lot of sleep right now, I deserve nice things. So because I'm not getting a lot of sleep right now, when I first came back from maternity leave, assembled my snack hoard, and started having things go missing. I genuinely thought I was just losing my mind. Boxes of candy were running out faster than I thought I was eating them. I'd come in the morning and things wouldn't be where I'd left them. At one point, I bought a bag of chips to work, folded the rim of the bag down so I wasn't plunging my arm elbow deep into the grease pit, and then put a bag clip on it when I went home. And when I came in the next morning, the bag was unrolled and reclipped. I went, wow, I must be more tired than I thought. Rolled the bag back down, and the next morning it was unrolled again. Just little things like that, almost every day, that made me go, wow, the post-baby brain is worse than I thought. And then I got the flu. I got the flu and I was out for a whole week. Left behind at the office was an almost full box of Enjoy Life cookies, which are not enjoyable, but are free of all major allergens. They're also $5 a box for like 12 sad little sand pies with some cinnamon on top. I ate one row of these cookies, and then I was out of the office for a week. For 1 week, I was not eating any of my snack hoard. But someone else was, because I came to work, opened my box of cookies, and found one. There was one single solitary cookie left, and on further examination, the one box of candy that had been opened was nowhere to be found, and on top of that, the thief had done me the courtesy of opening a new box for me, except that they actually followed the push here to open instructions instead of just ripping one end of the box open like I do, which they should damn well know at this point because by this time they'd been stealing from me for 2 GD months. The combination of these two things, the sheer freaking audacity it takes to open a new box so you can continue stealing from someone, on top of the consumption of almost a whole box of specialty cookies that aren't even good, enraged me enough that after going to my boss and getting some vague promises about checking if the security cameras in my wing of the building are functional or not, I went straight to Amazon and ordered myself a nanny cam. Not for my baby, for my snack hoard. Conveniently, it arrived the day before Valentine's Day. I set it up on top of a file cabinet looking down at my desk. On the desk, I laid out a fantastic spread of snacks. I got all my thief's favorites, and then I took it one step further. I bought myself a Valentine heart, broke the seal to make it more inviting, and left it out on my desk. The next morning, I came into some very obvious snack carnage. My thief had slowly been getting more brazen. Again, who opens a new box of something and opens it differently than the person they're stealing from? But this was just on another level. Individually wrapped things had been dumped out of their boxes, bits of packaging had been thrown away, and yup, they'd eaten some of the Valentine candy. For shame, office thief. Don't you know that's from someone who loves me? I played back the video. All was quiet throughout most of the evening, and I was just watching the shadows lengthen as the sun slowly set through the hallway window, and then, shortly before midnight, the night janitor arrived and went right ahead and took a 12-minute break in my office, sitting in my chair, eating my food. I started taking screenshots. I got him shoveling candy into his mouth with full palm-to-lips intensity, pouring things out onto the desk to pick his favorite flavors, not even bothering to put them back where he found them. And yes, eating my GD Valentine's candy. Screenshots went directly to my boss in an email. I went directly to my boss's door to hover and grin and ask if he'd read my email, and I got assurances of a strongly worded email to the cleaning company and the barring of this particular employee from our place of business. I was also tactfully asked to please take my unauthorized spy camera home, which I did. I thought this was over, until the girl who works the concession stand dropped by to thank me. Apparently the food thief would start his shift just as she was closing down for the night and would try to get free coffee in that creepy guy way. And then one of the reception staff came by with the same sentiments. I'd never met the guy face to face, but apparently, as a woman, it was not a fun experience to have. I'd shown my screenshots to a few coworkers whose eating OP's food had become the office gossip by this point, and word had spread fast. I worked an earlier shift, so I didn't recognize him, but people whose shifts overlapped with his did. I hadn't told my husband about what I'd done because when I came home raging about the blatant theft that had gone on while I'd had the flu, his only response had been, "You really shouldn't be leaving food at work then." But when I came home with the nanny cam and explained where and why I'd gotten it, his reaction surprised me. "You know, I think this is the first time I've seen you stand up for yourself. I'm proud of you." And our last story. Thanks for $10,000. So my dad's a mechanic and runs his own repair shop. He has quite the reputation within our community as literally everyone knows him, as he was the go-to mechanic in the area. The morning was as usual, a huge influx of customers dropping off their cars before they go to work. After the morning rush, it'd be lunch for the workers, which is when the story starts. A particular customer, let's call him DB, came in during lunch break and asked for his car to be fully serviced. He dropped off his keys and went on his way. So far, nothing unusual. The next day during noon, DB returned and my dad hands him the bill. DB takes a glance at the bill, refused to pay, and demands the keys. Obviously, my dad refuses as he'd already worked on the car and replaced a number of parts. What followed was some verbal abuse and threats made against my dad before DB leaving the premises. The day after, I happened to be at my dad's shop. In the afternoon, DB approached with 4 other dudes and a baseball bat. The moment my dad saw them, he locked the door and told me to stay inside. He picked up the phone and made a single call. At first, I thought he called the police, but within a minute, 20 or so men from the billiard place next door stepped out and surrounded DB and his goons. These 20 men had the look of gangsters with singlets, tattoos, scars across the faces, gold teeth, etc. My dad stepped out and told DB and his goons to piss off or else, which DB, while scared crapless, complied and ran away. The 20 or so men went back to the billiard place and my dad thanked them. He then went back to the office and told me, "It's good to have connections." Apparently, my dad was friends with the owner of the billiard place and most of the 20 men. Now for the aftermath. DB's mother called my dad and asked him why he didn't give her son's car back. My dad told her about DB showing up with his goons and a bat. DB's mother understood and said that DB is an adult and should resolve this mess himself. Obviously, my dad got no word from DB, and after several months of holding DB's car, he did the proper paperwork to take ownership of the car and sell it as it was taking up too much space. Made a cool $10K. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.